Granny's swamping up her tonic for to give to all the family and her kin. Though it tastes mighty bitter, it is good for man and critter, 'cause it gets your blood to running free again. Granny's brew, it's good for you. If you're off your feet, you ought to have some too. Even Pa leaves his victuals, he just sits out front and whittles. Cousin Jethro, he's a-sleeping in the shade. Instead of doing her spring cleaning, on her mop Aunt Pearl's a-leaning. Granny better get that batch of tonic made. There's the gong, won't be long till the family's back to feeling good and strong.
Line up, everybody. First come, first served. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, Pearl, go ahead.
By rights, you should go first, Jed. You're the head of the family.
Oh, no, Pearl, I ain't in no hurry. How about you, Willie Mae?
Oh, no, Pa, I was the last one in.
Do I take it this family don't want to take my tonic?
Oh, no, Granny, it's good.
Well, then step up. Somebody be first.
Well, Pearl, go on ahead. Women and children first. That's the rule.
That's the rule for fire, flood, and disaster.
Well, seems to me Granny's tonic ought to fit in there somewhere.
I heard what you said, Jed Clampett. And just for that, when it comes your turn, you're going to get a double dose. Now, step up, somebody, and get at it.
Hey, I got an idea. How about letting this little fella go first? He looks kind of puny.
Yeah, he's been acting kind of poorly lately, Granny. Tonic him first, Granny.
Sure seems to like it.
Yeah. You want some more?
No, I reckon that's enough for a little critter like him. Yes, sir. Best batch I ever made.
Miss Hathaway, these papers are ready for Jed Clampett's signature. Oh, incidentally, he did a fine job bringing his file up to date.
Thank you, Chief. I'll be right in. Mr. Drysdale, I wish to give credit where credit is due. Most of the work on the Clampett file was done by Miss Buckles here.
Buckles? Who's she?
A comparatively new girl, Chief. But already she has displayed those qualities so rare in the modern girl. Eagerness to learn, willingness to work, loyalty to the bank, devotion to duty.
All right. How much of a raise does she want?
Oh, no, Mr. Drysdale. I didn't do it to get a raise. I did it because I'm sincerely interested in my work here. And I'm determined to become the best second best employee in your bank.
You hear that, Chief? Rare devotion to duty. And Miss Buckles worked on the Clampett file in her own time.
Very praiseworthy. All right, what's Mr. Clampett's present balance?
$34,783,127.34. That's not including the oil deposit due today.
Well, you are familiar with his file.
I feel that a job worth doing is worth doing right.
Unlike so many others, this girl is not here to find a husband. She is here to work, right, Gloria?
Right, Miss Hathaway.
You may call me Jane.
All right. Take these up to Mr. Clampett. Now make sure he signs in all places indicated.
Right, Chief.
Miss Hathaway, your time is so valuable, and I know that Mr. Drysdale needs you. I would never be missed from the secretarial pool.
Do you hear that, Chief? Is she a rare find?
I just try to be like you, Miss Hathaway.
Jane.
Jane.
Chief, if it's all right with you, she is familiar with the papers.
Huh? Oh, fine. Yeah, fine.
And Gloria.
Yes.
You must take my car.
Oh, no, Miss Hathaway.
Oh, tut. I insist.
$34,783,127.34. $34,783,127.34.
Howdy, ma'am.
Well, how do you do? I'm Gloria Buckles from the Commerce Bank.
Oh, it's mighty nice to meet you. I'm Jed Clampett.
You?
Yes, ma'am.
But I was looking for a much older man.
Ain't no older men around here. Might could scare you up one in the neighborhood. Seems to me I seen an elderly fella down the road a piece.
No, I simply meant I couldn't believe that you were so young.
Well, maybe it's because I ain't.
But you look so young. You do look young.
Is that a fact?
He's holding his tonic, but that ain't all. Tell you, Granny, I've seen it with my own eyes. That girl is young enough to be his daughter.
And you say he gave her a hug?
Grabbed at her like a crawdad grabs bait.
That old mountain goat? I didn't figure on him running wild.
Your tonic. You shouldn't have double-dosed him and him being a widower so long.
Jed'll come to his senses.
I don't know. Ain't no fool like old fool.
Jed ain't old.
He's old enough, but he ain't too old, and that's where the danger is.
You're making a hill out of a haystack.
Granny, I got a good look at this girl, and I'm telling you right now, that ain't hay. Real big city article. Not the kind of girl that Jed's used to meeting back home.
Oh, girls is girls, city or country. They all come out of the same catalog.
Maybe so. But the city girls make it look like there's more in the package.
Granny? Pearl? Oh, there you are.
See what you mean, Pearl. She's wrapped tight and tied loose.
I want you all to meet Miss Gloria Buckles. This here is Granny and Cousin Pearl.
How do you do? I'm very pleased to meet you, ladies.
Howdy. Hi.
Well, ain't she just about the prettiest thing you ever did see?
Yeah. Favors Ellie a lot. Just about her age, too, wouldn't you say, Granny?
A mite younger.
Who's Ellie?
His granddaughter. I mean, my granddaughter.
She's Jed's daughter.
Oh, are you married, Mr. Clampett?
I'm a widower, ma'am.
Yeah, poor old Jed. I reckon he's come for another dose of his lumbago medicine, Granny.
I reckon. The poor old feller was up all last night with the misery.
A moaning and a groaning and a walking the floor.
Yes, the poor old fella is past the point where liniment does him any good.
Slays his poor sweet old bones.
Now, girl, that's just about enough of that. You both know I never had a twinge of the miseries in all my life. Knock on wood.
Pearl, his mind is wandering again.
Baby's called Granny. He missed his nap.
I want to apologize for them two, ma'am. They both just think they're being funny.
Well, I know what you mean. I have some elderly relatives like that myself. It's such a beautiful day. Why don't we go for a drive, Jed?
Thank you, ma'am. I'd like that, Gloria.
Did you hear what she called us? Elderly relatives.
Don't mind that. It's what he called her and she called him, and now she's going to get him out alone in her car.
Let's get in the truck and follow him.
We can't drive.
Jethro Kin.
Oh, I don't want Jethro getting no ideas from his uncle. Don't forget, he's been tonic, too.
We has nothing to worry about. Jed's a man that can keep his feet on the ground.
once he gets his arms around that girl, won't much matter where he keeps his feet.
By dingies, ma'am, if you hadn't brought her to a halt right when you did, we'd have gone right over that bluff. I'll get out and push her back on the road.
No, Mr. Clampett. I stopped here purposely.
Oh? How come?
Well, it's so beautiful and I'm so lonely.
Pretty woman like you. Why, I'd think these city boys would be standing in line for you.
Boys, yes. Men, no.
Well, I've seen them here all ages.
Well, I'm afraid that years alone do not turn a boy into a man.
I reckon I know what you mean.
I blame that city down there. Something about it seems to close in on a boy and keep him small and immature all his life. Show me a boy that's grown up in the country, in the mountains especially, and I'll show you a man, a real man.
You're gonna think I'm making this up on account of what you just said. But I grew up in the mountains.
No.
Yes, ma'am. Don't let that Beverly Hills mansion fool you. I'm a mountain boy, born and bred.
Of course. Of course, I see it now. I see it in those cool, clear eyes, unclouded by smog. Eyes that have looked beyond a city skyline and seen the truth and beauty of nature. I see it in this rugged, handsome face. I see it in these strong but gentle hands. Hands that have dug into the good earth, put life into it, and brought it forth. Hands roughened by honest toil.
Take another look at the face.
Oh, Jed. What have you done to me?
Nothing, ma'am.
Oh, yes, you have. You've sentenced me to a life of loneliness, a life without love, a life unfulfilled.
Well, I don't know what you mean, ma'am. Honest, I don't.
I'll tell you what I mean. You've set a standard no man could measure up to, a goal I could never achieve. Having met you, I could never care for a city man. Those weak and puny clothes dummies with their narrow suits and their narrow shoulders and their narrow minds.
Please, ma'am,
I have felt the muscles of a mountaineer ripple beneath my hands. Do you think I could ever be happy with anything less? No. I shall never marry. Better an old maid than a life with a man I could neither love nor respect.
Ma'am, don't feel that way. Pretty woman like you, smart and all. Why, it'd be a terrible shame if you was to never to get married and raise a flock of young'uns.
No.
Please, ma'am. I'd feel terrible if I thought you was wasting your life this way. Please change your mind. Well, Miss Gloria, if you're determined to marry a mountain man and none other, and unless you do it, your life will be ruined, maybe, and I get to know you better, might could find a way.
Oh, Jed.
Now, I ain't making no promises, but you set me to thinking. I reckon we'd best get back home and everybody get better acquainted. Forgot your pocketbook.
Oh, those are some papers Mr. Drysdale wants you to sign.
Well, come on, let's get in here and get busy. Got a lot to do with signing and dancing and getting better acquainted. Well, I reckon the first thing I better do is sign them papers you got for me.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Is she wearing a wedding ring? Wait till she gets her gloves on. Don't see one. Good. Then they ain't been to the preacher.
What is old Em, anyway?
Well, now this transfers your money from one account to the other. And this is your last will and testament.
They ain't been to the preacher, but they've been to the lawyer. And that's just as bad, or worse. We gotta stop him.
Oh, there you are, Jed. We've been looking all over for you. You give the doctor a terrible fright disappearing like that.
Yeah, he was afraid you might have fell in the cistern again.
What are you talking about?
Why, Jed Clampett, shame on you. You know the doctor don't want you to have nothing sharp.
Girl, what in the blue...
No, don't get excited, Jed. Doctor says it ain't good for him to get excited.
Well, what do you...
Oh, I almost forgot. Come on into the parlor. Got a surprise for you.
Surprise?
Hey, come on.
All right, what's a surprise?
Well, the surprise is what Pearl and me found out about that woman whilst she was gone.
What'd you find out?
She's a spy. For one of them foreign nations.
Which one?
Minneapolis, Wisconsin.
That's right, Mr. Drysdale. We didn't know who else to call. But we think this here woman's trying to get Jed's money. Well, she says her name is Gloria Buckles, but I don't know the... What? Oh, well, yes, sir. Yes, sir, we will. Bye. Mr. Drysdale must know that woman. He's a-coming right over.
Paul gonna marry up with her?
Oh, child, we hope not. We pray not.
Why, Granny? Well, I gotta look at her, and boy, she's pretty.
Beauty is only skin deep, son.
Well, she must have awful deep skin, because every place I could see was...
Oh, now, Mr. Drysdale says we's to keep her here till he comes.
I'll watch her, Ma.
You watch your car.
What'd you say this one was called?
This is called the twist.
If a feller was to dance this in a fresh plowed field, he'd auger his way right into the ground, wouldn't he? Hey, Jethro, come on in. You want to dance?
I'd rather dance with her, Uncle Jed.
That's what I had in mind, boy. Miss Buckles, this here is my nephew, Jethro.
Hiya.
You teach him that there twist, and I'll teach it to Ellie Mae. This is my daughter I've been telling you about.
Oh, what a beautiful child. You and I are going to be such good chums.
Ma'am, I think he meant for you to dance with me.
We're in time, Chief. There's my car.
Yes. Now, where's your protege? That loyal, devoted, hard-working gold digger.
I still can't believe it. So shy, so retiring.
She'll be retiring if she hooks Jed Clampett.
Jethro, I reckon you better answer that door.
Okay, Uncle Jed. Howdy.
How do you do, ma'am? I'm sorry to intrude.
Howdy, folks. Come on in. Dig yourselves a hole.
Gloria Buckles.
Huh? Where?
There.
Oh, my thunder, it is. You imposter.
Jezebel!
You gold digger.
I have a bulletin for you two. You better be nice to me, or else after my wedding, you may lose your largest depositor.
Wedding?
Mr. Clampett. Have things gotten as far as actually discussing marriage with this woman?
Well, yes, Mr. Drysdale, they have. Her and me had a nice long talk about it, and that's the reason I brought her home, so she could meet the family, kind of get acquainted.
But...
This pretty young city woman says that unless she can marry a mountain man, she just ain't gonna get married at all. I think we all agree that'd be a terrible waste.
Should we set the date now, Jed?
Well, yeah, near as we can. I'd say everybody willing that it'd be in about 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years?
Yeah, be that long before Jethro's 21.
Jethro!
Hot diggity dog, I got me a wife!
Paul, ain't you gonna marry up with that city woman?
Oh, Ellie, us old foxes is trap shy, especially when the bait goes to chasing us.
That's a department of the...
Hop in that puddle, Jumper, and cut mud out of here.
But I only want to talk about Mr. Clampetts' return.
He ain't going nowhere. And if you keep hanging around here, you ain't going nowhere neither.
Now, see here, madam, I insist. I'll be back.
I'll be waiting.
What's all the ruckus, Granny? Who was that?
That blame revenuer.
Sure?
Came right out and admitted it himself.
Well, we don't want no trouble with the law. Besides, you said you were going to stop running your still.
I ain't been. But I don't want no revenuer snooping around. They're the lowest form of varmints. Even he was ashamed of being one.
What?
Called it the Infernal Revenue Service.
Internal Revenue Service?
That's right.
Well, sit down, sit down.
Oh, thank you.
Well, now, it's a pleasure to have you visit my struggling little bank. Right?
You?
Here we are. Yes, it's always a pleasure to see you splendid chaps from the Internal Revenue Service. You know, I was just talking to my tax man yesterday. Aspirin?
No. Mr. Drysdale, I'm not here to talk about your income tax return.
You're not?
No. But your tax man did handle the return for Mr. J.D. Clampett, right?
Oh, yes, Mr. Clampett is my largest depositor. Wonderful man, salt of the earth, honest as a day is long. Lovely family.
Mr. Drysdale, I was just fired on by a member of that lovely family.
Fired on, you mean shot at?
With a double-barrel 12-gauge shotgun. Wielded expertly by a little old lady no bigger than this.
Granny. Oh, Mr. Landman, you have to understand these people.
Oh, I understood her fine. What I don't understand is this. How can a man show an income of millions for last year and not one red penny for all the years previous?
Oh, well, I can explain that.
Well, the Treasury Department will appreciate it.
Now, this is the beautiful mansion you just visited, right?
No, I would hardly call it a visit. Skirmish might be a better word. This is the house, yes.
And Mr. Landman, would you believe that 8 months ago they lived here?
No, frankly, I wouldn't.
I give you my word. The poorest, most uninformed people imaginable. Why, when an oil company tried to explore their swamp, old Jed's daughter hit him with a rock. Thought he was a revenuer.
What you got there?
Stranger,
Where'd you get him?
I beamed him with a rock.
What for?
He was skulking around down by the slough. Figured he might be a revenuer.
He ain't no revenuer.
Then can I keep him?
Of course not.
Well, I caught him.
Don't matter.
Well, he won't be no trouble. I could keep him out in the smokehouse.
Ellie Mae, you can't keep people like they were dogs and cats.
Who's that?
Some feller Ellie found nosing around.
Bending with the rock so it'd be easier to tote.
That there fella's from the petroleum company.
What's a petroleum?
I don't know. He asked me if he could do some wildcatting down by the slough. I said, help yourself. We're glad to get rid of the critters.
What he said?
Just kind of laughed. The laugh's on him. There ain't no wildcats down there at that slough.
Heck no. It's too full of oil.
Are you trying to tell me they didn't know oil was valuable?
Even when the oil company geologists told them, they didn't understand.
Mr. Clampett, that swamp of yours is full of oil.
I could have told you that.
Well, my company would like to pump it out.
Yeah, I like that too, but I just can't afford to have it done.
Oh, no, you don't understand. You see, you wouldn't have to pay for it.
Oh, I don't take favors from strangers.
No, Mr. Clampett, you see, you're a very rich man.
Stranger, if money was skunk oil, a hound dog couldn't smell me.
It's a swamp. My company will buy that land. Why, they'll raise so many derricks down there that...
Son, I gotta be honest with you, you couldn't raise turnips down there.
He's right. That ground looks black and rich. But it's so greasy you can just squeeze the oil out of it.
But that's what my company wants.
Maybe you better sit down for a spell.
Why, even after Mr. Clampett sold his swamp, he didn't know how much money he'd gotten until his cousin Pearl heard the news and came rushing over.
Stop this thing! Stop it! Hold on! Heaven protect us! Did they hit us, kid?
No, but I think they sure want the chicken house.
I'm sure sorry about the chicken house, but nobody got hurt. Jeffro, I told you to get rid of them worn-out brakes.
I did, Ma. That's how come we ain't got none.
Get on out and lift the chicken house back on its foundation. Jed?
Yeah.
Jed, Ellie Mae came running over to my place, and she said you sold the swamp to some oil company.
Well, yeah, I guess I did.
What did they pay you for it?
Well, he ain't paid me nothing yet. The Brewster fella said he'd bring the money later.
How much they gonna pay you?
Well, he said that'd depend some on how much oil they could pump out.
Well, he must have mentioned some figure. What was it?
Well, now, Pearl, you know that old swamp weren't worth shucks.
Jed Clampett, you got slickered and you're ashamed to admit it.
That's just what I told him.
Granny, how much they gonna pay him?
All right, I'll tell you. He said it runs somewhere between 25 and 100.
25 and 100?
I know it don't sound like much, but Mr. Brewster seemed to set great store by the fact he's going to pay me in some new kind of dollar.
There ain't no new kind of dollars.
Well, it's new to me. I've heard of gold dollars, silver dollars, paper dollars, but he says he's going to pay me in, what do you call them, Granny?
$1 million.
Yeah, that's it.
$1 million?
Well, he wrote the whole thing out on this piece of paper. Here, you can see for yourself. I don't know nothing about that kind of stuff.
Let's see here. Saints in heaven. Granny, give me the jug.
It's empty, but I'll fetch some.
I'll go, Granny.
Jed, you're a millionaire. A millionaire.
Yeah, that's what that Brewster fella kept calling me. I didn't know just how to take it.
You meant you're rich.
Me?
The richest man in these hills. Maybe in the whole state. Oh, Jed, you can have anything you want. Do anything you want. Go any place you want.
Yeah, that's another thing he kept saying. He said he reckoned I'd be moving away from here soon. What do you think, Pearl? You think I ought to move?
Jed, how can you even ask? Look around you. You're 8 miles from your nearest neighbor. You're overrun with skunks, possums, coyotes, bobcats. You use kerosene lamps for light. You cook on a wood stove, summer and winter. You're drinking homemade moonshine, washing with homemade lye soap. And your bathroom is 50 feet from the house, and you ask, should you move?
Yeah, I reckon you're right. Man, be a dang fool to leave all this.
You know, Mr. Drysdale, in the Internal Revenue Service, we hear some pretty wild stories. But this corn pone to caviar saga of Jed Clampett tops everything.
Well, if you think it's been unbelievable so far, wait until you hear the rest of it.
What I can't understand is how a man so insulated from the rest of the world ever heard about Beverly Hills, California.
I can explain that in 2 words. Cousin Pearl. She's the one who had her sights set on California.
Oh, there you are, Jed. You misunderstood me. I meant you should move away. And you know where I'd go if I was you?
Where?
California.
California?
Yes, sir. Beverly Hills, California. I hear tell it's full of millionaires out there. And movie stars, too.
In what?
Movie stars. Jed, remember the time that your pa took us to Eureka Springs to see the movie picture?
Yeah.
Well, the actors that make them movie pictures live in Beverly Hills.
Go on.
Yes, sir.
Well, doggy. Wouldn't that be something? Living in the same neck of the woods with Old Town Mick.
It sure would. And we could come visit you.
Yes, it was Cousin Pearl who planted the idea of moving to Beverly Hills, but it was Mr. Brewster who made it possible.
Who's he?
Vice president of the oil company that bought Mr. Clampett's land. Yes, Brewster's often told me the story of that fateful evening.
Well, your cousin is right about that, Mr. Clampett. Beverly Hills is a choice residential area, and lots of millionaires do settle there.
Folks like me, huh?
Well, millionaires.
Movie stars, too.
Oh, yeah.
Is Tom Mix there?
No, I'm afraid Mr. Mix is dead.
Oh? Oh, yeah. Oh, what's the matter with me? Remember Pearl? He got shot at the end of that picture.
Well, there are plenty other movie stars, and that's where Jed wants to live. Ain't it, Jed?
I do like the notion of living in the hills. Never could stand flat country.
Mr. Clampett, I think it only fair. That is, well, I think you may have a wrong idea about Beverly Hills.
Is that where you live?
No, my home is in Tulsa.
Well, say, maybe you could get us a place there in your neighborhood.
Mr. Clampett, let's not beat around the bush. You will love Beverly Hills.
Then that's it. Can you steer Jed onto a good place?
No, I can get the bank out there to handle it for him.
He'd like a nice big place with plenty of room for his kinfolk to visit him.
Is the foreigner staying for supper?
I'm ashamed to say I ain't asked him. How about it?
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, no trouble. What you cooking tonight, Granny?
Mustard greens and possum innards.
Mm-hmm. Did you hear that, Mr. Brewster?
Very clearly.
Change your mind?
Not this time.
Well, if you should happen to come back tomorrow, we'll be having leftovers. That's the thing about possum innards. They's just as good the second day.
What a family. So, anyway, they packed up and came to Beverly Hills.
Well, it wasn't quite that simple. Mr. Clampett had his problems.
With $25 million, he had problems?
Ah, yes. The first one was his daughter. She didn't want to leave her friends.
Friends? And I thought they lived in a completely unpopulated area.
They did. Her friends were not the kind you and I have.
Now, I ain't gonna be here to look after you no more. So you're gonna have to keep yourself out of trouble. Watch out for them coyotes and them bobcats and them hunters with guns. Stay out of folks' gardens, because you know how it riles up Granny when you get in hers. Except when we're gone, you can have everything that's left. I'm sorry there ain't gonna be room enough on the truck to take you along. But maybe you wouldn't like California anyhow. Maybe I ain't gonna like it either. If I don't, then I'm a-comin' hightailing it right back here, and me and you'll set up housekeeping all by ourselves.
Ellie? Ellie Mae?
Yeah, Paul, over here.
You feeling all right, Ellie? You didn't eat your supper.
Sure, Pa. I just wasn't hungry.
Cold? You're shaking like a sumac leaf.
No, Pa, I ain't cold. I'm scared.
Scared? Why? There ain't nothing in this woods can hurt you, even in the dark.
It ain't the woods or the dark. It's going so far away. I don't know what it's going to be like out there in Beverly Hills.
Why, it's going to be just like here. Except we'll have things a lot nicer.
Will I go to school and wear fancy dresses like city girls and put powder on my face and get my hair all fixed up in one of them there beauty parlors?
Why, sure you will.
Then I ain't going.
I want you to meet the Clampetts under different circumstances. You'll find them to be really charming people.
Including Granny?
Oh, yes. This time you'll get a completely different reception. I promise you.
Ellie Mae! You sound the alarm if you see that revenue man coming.
I will, Granny.
I'll blast him before he gets through that gate.
Of course, even after Mr. Clampett convinced his daughter to leave her animal friends, he still had Granny to contend with.
I guess she didn't like the notion of being uprooted.
That's putting it mildly. The way he tells it, she just downright refused to budge.
Now, what's all this nonsense about you ain't going to California?
Ain't no nonsense to it. If the good Lord had wanted me in California, he'd have put me in California.
Maybe he's just getting around to it. The book says he moves in mysterious ways.
Well, if he moves me, I'll go. But you and Big Jethro ain't a budging me.
Granny, this here Beverly Hills sounds like the kind of place you'd like. That preacher fella says they got smogs out there.
What's a smog?
Well, me and Jethro figured out that's a small hog. And you heard what Pearl said. It ain't got no snow out there. You could run your still the year round.
Run it the year round here.
Yeah, but walking down through the snow to the still always makes you feel so miserable.
I might feel miserable walking down. But the way I feels coming back makes up for it.
Hey, Granny. We've been planning and talking about this trip for days. You never said you wouldn't go.
Never said I wouldn't either.
But that preacher fella has bought us a house in them Beverly Hills. He sent our $25 million to the bank out there.
Well, you just chase on out after it. I'm staying right here. And I ain't afeard neither.
Granny, I ain't leaving you here alone.
And I ain't a budging out of this rocker.
Let her roll, Jethro.
Only a man of Jed Clampett's strength and authority could have handled Granny.
He'll be there when we get to the Clampett place, won't he?
Oh, sure, you have nothing to worry about. There's the entrance up ahead.
Yes, I know.
There's a car stopping at the gate, Granny.
They closed the gate since I left.
I'll get it. You know, this reminds me of an experience I had when the Clampetts first moved in. I was leaving and found the gates closed. Hello. Hello. Mr. Clampett, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good, good. I need your help.
Sounds like you're inside the wall.
I am. Would you let me out, please?
Well, you bet I will. You stay right where you are. I'll get me an axe and have you out of there in no time.
He demolished 10 feet of wall before I could stop.
Granny, Mr. Drysdale's opening the gate.
Good. He's leading that revenuer right into a trap.
shoot nobody.
He ain't nobody. Revenuers and buzzards don't count.
You go on inside and cook up some victuals.
Since when is a revenuer company?
Mr. Clampett, I'd like you to meet Mr. Lamb.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Clampett.
How do you do, Mr. Landman? Since you're a friend of Mr. Drysdale's here, I reckon you're welcome. But as you can see, we don't cut the revenuers.
I'm not a revenuer, Mr. Clampett. I guess back in the hills where you come from, I'd be a tax collector.
Back in the hills where I come from, you'd be a lot younger.
Oh? Was the climate that healthy?
Oh, it's just you wouldn't have lived to get this old.
Ed, is the revenuer staying to supper?
He ain't no revenuer.
Well, is the foreigner staying to supper?
How about it, Mr. Landman? You too, Mr. Drysdale.
You're not by any chance cooking mustard greens and possum innards, are you?
Not tonight.
Oh, we had them last night.
I'll stay.
Me too.
Tonight we is having leftovers.
That's the thing about possum innards. It's just as good the second day.